Oh gosh. Okay, so we are live. I'm laughing what Jamie just said to me before we went live. Trust me, Jamie, you can. Anyways, welcome back to another Her Bold Voice LinkedIn Live. I have I I have this powerhouse sitting. She's not physically in front of me, but of course she's on the screen here. That I met Jamie a couple years ago at this Female Integrator Mastermind conference, and it's I'm like to that point where I step back with you, Jamie, and I'm going to get into your bio here in a minute. I step back and go, ooh, I'm a little like intimidated in a good way. But anyways, I'm so glad when I invited her to be on the show, she said yes without even hesitating. Thank you so much. Whoops. And let me fix. I got some technology stuff going on here. I was dealing with that all this. Here we go. All right. Well, welcome back to another Her Bold Voice. Those of you who are listening live, you start commenting and we don't respond to the comments. We're not ignoring you. I'll swing back around afterwards and make some comments. If you ask a question, we will pause for that. But thank you. I am showcasing some amazing, high achieving, fascinating females. And there's a place here for a few good men. In fact, we will have a male client on this show before the season is up. But let's jump on in because I don't want to take any more time. I want to focus on Jamie. Oh, Jamie, I'm going to ruin this last name. Minoz, right?
Moon, like the moon. Yos.
Munoz. Okay. I apologize. Lived in Glendale, Arizona with her husband, Jacob. And I got the opportunity to meet your husband too. And their two special needs dog, Luna and Lily. I love it. In her spare time, she supports a local pit bull rescue. Yay. Gets tattooed, goes shopping, loves planning and hosting theme parties and going to Disneyland. Jamie is passionate about helping people identify their ideal EOS life. We're going to hang on, everybody. We're going to talk about what EOS is for those who don't understand that. Mentoring integrators, leadership coaching, and is a certified John Maxwell team speaker and coach. Jamie has been an integrator for companies running on EOS since 2015. And has been fractional since 2018. Hang on, we're going to be talking about that too as well. She is a visionary behind Catalyst Integrators, a firm established in 2021 that supports full-time integrators transition into the world of fractional work, where they support entrepreneurs to live their ideal lives and create self-managing companies. And Jamie is blasting impact and change with her company, Catalyst. Big time. I got to witness it. I got to see it a couple of years ago. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kim. It's so good to be able to hang out with you. I didn't have time to go get like a coffee yet. I wanted to be like coffee chat, but protein shake and start my morning with you. I'm just so excited.
Yes, and it's early in Arizona. I know it's early. We're a couple hours apart. It's I'm in Michigan. It's 11:30. So this is totally off key. And let's just real quickly here in your what pit bull rescue? I support one in Arizona. What pit bull rescue do you support?
You? Okay, so we foster through Mayday Pit Bull Rescue. Most people know One Love. Or Road Dogs, I think, is another popular one. There's several out here. So yeah, we foster through Mayday, and then we also foster through Maricopa County.
Nice. I support Incredible Stella Bull.
Yeah. So Incredible Stella, she they're involved with One Love quite a bit, which is really cool to see. If you guys have never heard of Incredible Stella, there's a book, just wonderful story.
Yes, the founder unfortunately passed a couple of years ago at a very young age of cancer. Marika and her dear friend Erica is taking the legendary, the legacy, and she's keeping it going. And it's interesting. I've never met Erica, but I had an opportunity of meeting Marika just by my husband was on business in Arizona. Just meet her by chance. But anyways. All right, let's jump in. You are like bold, and and of course, I'll use the words that a lot of integrators like to use, badass as well. How did you get into this EOS world as an integrator? And then what woke you up, or what led you into, oh my gosh, the impact and support that you have with your company Catalyst? So take me to the beginning.
Okay, we're going way back to the beginning. Um, I had an incredible visionary. Um, I was working at a company here locally in Phoenix, in a full-time capacity. I remember when he hired me, they had about 13 team members, 12, 13, and it was like, we want to build, grow, scale the company. Like, we want to go from here to there. Okay, great. I could always easily plug in with an owner, with a visionary, and hear where they want to go and be able to like kind of fill in the in between. So kind of fast forward 4 years in, we were hitting a ceiling of complexity in the business, and he found traction and handed it to me and told me to figure it out. Um, my visionary, his name is Chris, was just incredible. He poured into me. He got me into the John Maxwell stuff. We went to every Entree Leadership Summit. Like, I just feel like behind every badass integrator was a awesome visionary at one point, right? Like, somebody to support you and be that that cheerleader for you, to give you the resources that you need. Because as integrators, a lot of times we're behind the scenes, right? Like, we're in the company, visionaries are out getting tools, getting resources, peer groups, conferences, right? Like, usually they're the face and they're out. But he poured in, and he allowed me and our entire leadership team to get that coaching and support that we all needed. So found traction. We hired an implementer. Fast forward 4 years. I fully built out, I grew the company from 13 people to about 100, and expanded our manufacturing facility, and just got to a point where I was like, I don't need to be here full time anymore. This was around 2018. So the leadership team had someone in every seat. The visionary was out doing visionary things. He actually became an EOS implementer. And so I didn't need to be there all the time. I also owned a boutique. So that's kind of the peppering in of the story of where, like, what do you mean, Jamie? Like, you're an integrator, but you're also entrepreneurial. I never realized that. Like, it never clicked for me until the past couple years that like I had entrepreneurial visionary tendencies, and I could speak visionary also, which I think plugged me in so well with my visionary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I owned the boutique. I wanted to take care of the dogs. My dogs needed a bunch of surgeries and all kinds of things very early on. And this was right before COVID. So I'm like, I heard Gino speak about EOS life. And I remember just sitting there in the audience, just pouring tears. I wasn't living my ideal life. And so I started on the journey to seek that out and figure out what that looked like. And that led to everything here. My best friend and I, which I don't share this story very often because I usually cry. My best friend at the time that I had worked with, her and I started doing women's retreats. So I know you'll love this, Kim. So we recognized, like, hey, EOS and all these tools, having a VTO, having a vision for your life, having a vision board, watching things like The Secret or reading The Secret, and figuring out how to like manifest the life that you want. Her and I put together little like retreats, and we would take women and do these 3-day retreats at a hotel and help women create their ideal lives. So we would kind of put this whole thing together and teach them the tools on how to like dream big and then execute their plan to live their ideal lives. So that was another piece of the puzzle where her and I wanted to do that together and live our ideal lives together. So I had lots of little things baking at the time when I decided to go fractional, which is kind of scary. Looking back on it now, I guess I'm a bigger risk taker than I thought.
Oh, I think you're a big risk taker, girl. Boy, I'm over on the sidelines with my pom poms that just cheering. I believe you're a very big risk taker. So when you went fractional, was it with the current person you were with, or did you leave and do fractional work, or did you stay and bring on more clients, being that you were fractional?
Yeah, I love that. So I didn't want to leave my visionary high and dry. I didn't want to like put in notice and leave. And we were kind of idling at a place with this organization where, and this is where this concept for me comes in really important for people to understand fractional, when fractional can work or not work. We weren't slated to continue growing very rapidly. We were kind of like set and like at this place where like a smaller amount of growth was going to be appropriate. I could do that in about a day a week with the team. So my proposal when I put in my notice was to stay and help about a day a week to continue beating the drum and helping, whether to give them time to find somebody else or to replace me, or I stay for that seat for a little bit, whatever. So I did stay there for about a year fractionally, before I finally did exit, and then they eventually promoted someone else into the seat.
Right.
And then during that time, I still didn't really realize that fractional was a thing. Again, 2018, there was a few people, big people in the space that were doing it. Rick Wilson was like, to me, the original fractional integrator. He worked with Mark Winters, and I got kind of connected with him on this whole like, is fractional a thing? And he helped me realize that this was a big opportunity and a need out there based on all of the numbers and the stats and everything they talk about in Traction, is that, and Rocky Fuel, is that there's not enough integrators for every visionary. So fractional, like that, like, okay, so how do we serve more people, make a bigger impact? It's spreading ourselves, because when you're truly, and this might be a little bit down the road, but when you're truly like owning the integrator seat, unless it's a company that's really like complex, diverse, growing fast, like a lot of moving pieces, like the integrator seat alone is not typically full time. I haven't experienced. You're usually in another seat. You're also head of ops. That makes your full-time role. So that to me is where fractional really has a fit and a need, and is not a one size fits all for everybody.
Right.
That's why we see that so many fractionals do things a little differently, or this company needs something different than this company. Like, it's not a one size fits fractional integrator seat for everybody.
Sounds like you meet the needs of the visionary at that time. And I'm with you, Jamie. I'm not a one-stop shop kind of girl. It's like, sure, there's a realm that you step into as fractional, and I'm sure all your fractionals do this under Catalyst, but it's like having to be able to have the flexibility to maneuver with the client's needs, and what's going on at that time. And I'm sure it's quite an interesting tap dance, I'm sure. And so I want to back up here for a minute. EOS, to everybody listening, is Entrepreneur Operating System. It's an operating system. There are multiple operating systems out there. Gino Wickman is the gentleman that birthed, created, founded EOS, which, by the way, Gino Wickman only lives about 25 minutes away from me. And yes, and there are a lot of EOS people that run in the world out here. Now, here's what, and I'm going to quote Gino, and these are not his exact words, so let's not go into quotations here. He said, even if you don't choose EOS as an operating system, all companies need to be on some sort of an operating system. And it's to be in this world. I'm not in EOS. I run with EOS. It's fun to be around all of you, because each and every single one of you, when we're at the FIM conference that Christy Clayton has led, founder and visionary of all of that, is you guys experience, you drink the impact change cup. It's around this EOS, and whether it's EOS or, like I said, any other operating system, you see the change, how these companies grow, the viability, and expand and get leadership team all on the same page and stuff. It's really cool to be around in that vibe, in that environment with all of you. So how did you step in? I'm assuming it doesn't have to be linear where my brain is going right now. I'm assuming with the boutique and stuff and getting that taste of fractional and really stepping back and going, holy cow, if I can be fractional 1 day a week for this company, can you imagine if I'm doing 4 days a week, or if I'm doing, whatever the impact? So, how did you, I don't mean to minimize this, Jamie. How did you go to sleep one night and wake up, put on that visionary hat of yours, and go, Catalyst, I can help others. I can help others contribute to their household income and also create that change and impact out here.
Yeah. I think once you reach a point in your life where you have clarity of purpose and you have some big vision and big dreams around how you want to live and what you want that to look like, then I think that you can kind of be the master creator of what that looks like. And you can be super intentional with knowing your strengths, knowing your skills, and knowing how you can go out there and impact people that need what you do. I think so many people underestimate the fact that they're really good and have a unique ability in something and assume that everyone else does too. So, for instance, like when I was an integrator full time, I was like, process was my unique ability. Putting together something, knowing the 10 steps in between and like thinking ahead and like knowing everything and like being able to master create this. And I had a realization one day that like other people didn't love process and weren't good at process the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to be a unique, different snowflake in your area of expertise and be really good at something and not feel like you have to be minimized into a box of like everybody's just kind of like all good at the same things and like nobody can stand out in different ways, because when that happens then you can't help the people that do have a gap in what you're good at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it's identifying our strengths. And I don't, and I'm not, this is kind of a little off key here, but I still hear in corporate America, which I'm not and I think that was my other life, my before life in corporate, is, when you're doing employer reviews, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Okay, why do we have to focus on our weaknesses? Or unless it's something we personally say, I'm a little not quite as strong in this area, I want to become better at. That's a whole different other song and dance. But putting people in a box and focusing on weaknesses, let's get people to their strengths. And I know that's one of the things that integrators do with seats. I always like to say the tushies, the butts in the right seats, which is your leadership team, making sure people are in those right positions so that they can soar. And, that whole team is functioning like a well-oiled wheel. And then the company is elevating and whatever the company is going into, whether it's visionary getting ready to retire and pass the baton to someone else on the team or family member or whatever that case may be, it's so imperative. So with that all being said, Jamie, explain to the listeners visionary, integrator, implementer, what that all is. Like, I know because I run with a lot of you, but for those who are listening, explain what those are, would you please?
Yeah, for sure. So visionary is the CEO. Typically the founder, the owner, has the most passion out of anyone in the company for what y'all do, and has the ability to step outside, look ahead, look forward, curate the big relationships and take the company where it's going to go, like vision wise. So that's visionary, again, CEO. Integrator is, in a lot of big organizations, typically the COO, toggling two seats, I would say, like outside of the EOS framework, right? That COO seat is of operations, integrator and ops, right? Like they kind of come together into one. So the integrator seat, as it's depicted in EOS, like you have the visionary seat here. Integrator seat is that direct link puzzle piece. I feel like if I was to make this a visual, it would actually be more like a visual like this, kind of showing that it's like there's one master role for the company that like has two people, two bodies typically sitting there, what's important to share is, and where this is probably going, is that in most cases, that's one human. You're the visionary and the integrator. So when
Mhm.
you're all balled up, it's hard to pull this apart and know who does what things. So a lot of times when we work with new clients, it's like that visionary is also the integrator. So
Mhm.
they can't understand or see how it's different or what's needed or what they do versus what you do. Like it's just kind of, it's all jumbled up. So some of the work that we do is help pull this apart to understand the visionary seat and the integrator seat and who's doing what things and how we work together to make all of this stuff happen harmoniously together and lead the integrator has LMA or leadership for the leadership team, as the most qualified person with LMA, leading, managing, and holding people accountable. Visionary, not typical that they want accountability. They don't want to be the one that's there day to day, like really leading and driving leadership through the leadership team. They want to be kind of like focused on other things. So it makes sense that this integrator is like this person that champions leadership and is there to support everything that they need. Um, it is not an assistant. The integrator is not an assistant to the visionary. It's not an executive assistant. It doesn't mean admin. There might be a seat where, that's necessary separately and tangentially like helps the visionary or helps the leadership team, but it is not an assistant role. Um, an implementer is a franchisee, like a licensed franchisee of EOS worldwide. There's a really cool visual that EOS put out that shows like how an implementer enters your business, right? To kind of like coach you and make sure that like the leadership team is learning EOS and knows EOS and that's facilitated through. The integrator integrator is in the business week to week, making sure the meetings are running correctly, making sure we're accomplishing our goals as an organization, building a relationship with the visionary and the leadership team, and ensures that EOS rolls out to the rest of the organization. That's the difference between those three.
Yes. And as how I understand it, first of all, I just realized with implementers, I did not know that they were a franchisee of EOS Worldwide. I just learned that just from what you just said. And the implementers, how I see it, help implement the operating system. They help go in and they help implement it, making sure it's all implemented and then it's rolling. That's how I understand between the two. So, Jamie, let's talk about a bold moment you've had, either most recently or in the past, for you to arrive where you are in this given moment.
Oh my gosh, a bold moment. How do you define bold? Do you define bold as something like, tell me more about how you see
The
that?
the boldness, and boldness is at whatever level you want to be at the boldness, but it's taking those risks and it's plowing through and it's coming out of boxes and really maybe, you know, um, just creating, breaking up coming out of the status quo and not getting too involved and worried about other people's opinions and all the chaos that goes with that.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Mhm.
So I'm like, how long do we have? How long do we have?
We have all day. I've got nothing going on for the rest of the
Uh,
afternoon.
I'll uh, I'll try to summarize as best I can. I think I think we've all had a a person in the past, a team member, someone you've listened to speaks. For me, it was an HR lady who really felt like it life and work needs to be separate. There is work and there is life, and you don't bring your life into work. I've had that experience. I'm sure most people have at least somehow consumed some of that messaging in the past. That's not our reality right now. So messaging around, like, again, there's like, how do you toe that line? How do you stay just business and just professional? And how do you not kind of blend those two together? And I think I've always really disagreed with that in a way that's like, well, how do you be separate then? Like, if you are you and you feel the way you are and you act the way you are and you are who you are, how can you like leave that at the door today to walk into work, right? And I think that's broken a lot of people by trying to show up that way. And I was at the Visionary Summit, this amazing group that's been created for visionaries, and whether you run your company on EOS or something else, it's agnostic. But I joined this group. Coach Bob Schenefeld introduced to me through the Christy Clayton, one of my besties, there, founder of FIM, and I went to this group and I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't been in an environment of only visionaries other than with the work that I do with Catalyst. So I entered in as a visionary very boldly. Well, there's the plug for the bold. I was very boldly, I entered into this group and wanted to learn and grow from visionaries. And I had gone to some other networking and peer group things before that were very ego driven, just kind of like super cringy. So I was I'm going to go in here because I think EOS community, like you shared earlier, has such shared core values around how we show up as humans and like care and love and, things like that, I wasn't getting other places. So I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm going to get in here. So I went to a summit, got hooked, about 30 people all in person for this 3-day immersive experience with speakers and just learning and growth with other visionaries, not to network and sell each other, nothing like that. Dr. Stephen Young came and spoke at one of our summits. This was last year in September, and he talked about being able to like harness human energy. And it got a little woo-woo, not gonna lie. I'm okay with some woo-woo. So he talked about how if you are not working in a direction of supporting your team around their energy and the growth that like they need and how people need to be filled and poured into in various ways, that's like a holistic kind of life approach, then he claimed that in the next 10 years, if you're not focused on that, you'll be out of business.
Mm.
And that was bold for me to hear and to see. And so sat with that for a while, talked to different people about it, I have an amazing coach. I met with my coach about it several times as we were curating and putting together the annual retreat for Catalyst that we were going to have in December, where my whole team comes together. And I just really wanted to focus in on how do we take that whole person, that holistic view, that get rid of the term balance. Like, I now am triggered by the word balance because it elicits a feeling in my body of like doing this that feels like at any given time you're not attending to something. If you're with your family, you're not at work. If you're at work, you're not focusing on your health. And creating this feeling inside, like just even doing that motion, like physically with your body, you feel like, oh, that feels gross. Like I already feel out of balance. And how do you ever accomplish balance? That's hard. So he proposed the concept of harmony. And I was just like sold. Like, this is literally what I think is required to live that ideal EOS life, to live any type of quality of life, to be able to understand like how to get through life with a lot more ease and fun. And there's a lot of other work we've been doing and coaching we've been doing as a team through some other stuff that's really cool that I see is also coming to EOS conference. Positive Intelligence is one of the sponsors at the EOS conference. Again, sold.
I just got that book. I just got that book.
Shirzad is incredible. I've completed the
Yes.
program.
Yeah.
My entire team has completed his program.
Gonna do it.
It's life changing, and it's the
Yeah.
work that's going to spread and multiply and give you language. So anyways, I know I'm down a bit of a rabbit hole, but for me, the boldness is stepping into this kind of stuff that's not as mainstream yet. It's taking a chance and leading in with love for my team, and seeing, like, the impact that we can make on lives outside of just, working less, making more, that kind of stuff. But it's like there's a feeling that you need to have going through your life, and like being able to have the right mental toughness and language for yourself to get through things with more ease.
Yeah. I'm with you, Jamie. Many years ago, I did a talk on work-life balance. It's a myth. It is a myth. And whoever thought we would grow up trying to balance all this stuff like we're clowns in a circus juggling balls, juggling 100 balls, and the balls are all, the balls are dropping. If not one ball, all the balls, who knows? And it's not about balance. It's about, integrating and negotiating and knowing when to say yes and no. And it's so interesting you brought up that positive. And I literally just got the book last week.
App. So get the app, and you
Okay.
can, if you like to listen.
Yes, I'm going to get the app, and I'm also going to look into doing the program as well. But I love the fact, and not just you, Jamie, but in this world that you run in is the love. I mean, how all these integrators show up, and of course, I've only been around female integrators. Is how females integrate. You guys, hugs. You're casual, all of that. I'm working with a visionary who has a company that runs in the EOS world. She's presenting in San Diego in April next month. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And she's the same way. She's coming into Detroit next week. And I emailed her and said, okay, casual. Ha ha ha. I can't believe I'm typing this, but casual. And I said, and I hope you're up for hugs. And she's like, of course I am. So there's all of that. But with you, Jamie, you really take on the love of yourself, your life with your husband. I mean, you were presenting 2 years ago when we were in Nashville, and he's like running to the airport, just to get there on time to support his wife. It was so cute. And he made it too. He made it. And
Made it.
that, and just the support you give your team. And then I heard the testimonials from your team, how their family lives have changed while you're turning around and impacting other people's lives. And I know you, but I don't know you that well. But I think that would be a game changer for you if you weren't able to do something like this. And we all, as a society, we all need to learn how to do not cut off the right arm to go drive to work with the left arm, and not cut off the left arm because now we're going to put the right arm back in because we're home. Is that organic wholeness from the heart, that I call it, that it's an A word that's thrown around very loosely, but that authenticity of what life looks like. And I know your company is doing that. We're not done. We're like halfway through. Before everybody or anyone has got to run and leave to a meeting, Jamie, where can people get in touch with you?
Oh, you can email me, Jamie Munoz at catalystintegrators.com. You can reach out on the website. You can chat me on LinkedIn. Just reach out to me. If you have questions, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is like, another bold thing I'll share. When I first started, like, I was scared. I was scared to reach out to people. I was scared to ask. I was, the first few people I had reached out to that were not in EOS community to ask questions about career change and things, like, it was exchange for dollars. It was like, oh, if you're going to talk to me, you have to buy, or you have to do this. And like, I feel like I take a very non-salesy approach. Like, I will give time. I will chat with you. I will share with you. For sure. And help point you in a right direction, whether it's with us, whether it's with somebody else. There's other amazing firms out there too that I encourage people to look into if they're looking at wanting to transition from full-time into fractional and doing your due diligence around what it really means. I think we put a lot of like fun glamour and glitz on the what we do, but this shit's not easy.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's hard, it's hard work. It's not to say it's like not for everybody, but like there's some intentionality behind deciding if this is the right lifestyle for you at this stage of your journey. You know, at this stage of your life. Like we all go through these different journeys, you know, as we age and as we get older, that like you have to make sure that it fits with what you're trying to do, and tick those boxes. So yeah, reach
Yeah.
out, chat. I can point you in the direction. Or for clients, if you need an integrator or don't know if you need an integrator or a fractional integrator, and you're like, how do I know if what I need? I'll talk to you. I'll help you. I'll shoot it to you straight and tell you if it can help you or not help you, and we'll figure it out.
Yes, I love the both sides of that. If you're a visionary sitting here and going, "Oh my gosh, I think I need Jamie," or "I don't know if I need Jamie or not," or whatever, you will shoot it straight. And then I like the other side of this is if you're sitting here and you're a full-time integrator and thinking about going fractional, have a conversation with Jamie. And have a conversation with Jamie. And there are other Jamies that's not Jamie that are running organizations like this as well. I mean, they'll lay it on the line to you. And you guys do, it's a lot of hard work just because you're going into an organization, if it's only one day a week or if it's quarterly or however it's mapped out for the needs of the client. But even if you're going in one day a week, there's so much more past that one day a week. It's a lot of work. I see it with my clients. You guys pour in, you really pour in. All right, making bold moves, launching businesses, having dialogues with these visionaries. And let's just say it, I love these visionaries, but man, oh man, some of those visionaries are crazy. Boom, 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 boom. You know, that's because they've got so many great, fantastic visions in their brain. But Jimmy, when was the last time you were getting ready to, whether it was a big bold move or a little mama, may I little bold move, whatever that is, and that inner critic, that negative self-talk kicked in? And what was it and how did you manage it?
Yeah. So I'll use some PQ language. So in PQ, those are your saboteurs. So your saboteurs come in, and those could be like the judge or the hyperachiever, or you know, there's different voices you're going to learn about, Kim, when you read that come in. And the language that Shirzad uses is around like finding your sage perspective, like
Mm.
who you are. And that's like the right voice, the positive voice, like who you are, like at your core, right? So that's the voice to channel in these bold move situations, right? Like you're coming from a place that's not one of these. And these saboteurs, from what I've learned in practicing this for the past like 6 months or so, is that they mask as your voice. So all of these voices, when you say like, oh, you have this voice in your head, you know, they all voice mask as you, but that's not truly like who you are. So if there's anything negative going on or not serving or like ugly, like those are your saboteurs. That is not who you are. That is not your sage. So in order to step in and confidently make a bold move, I mean, there's obviously like actual practical tools and things that you can use. But I would say like lately one would be that so I started Catalyst. We were a different brand before. So technically I've been fractional for a little over 5 years.
Mhm.
Catalyst just turned 3. We rebranded. So 3 years. The very first team member I had, Paulina, she was like incredible. I could not have started Catalyst without her. She's absolutely phenomenal. She believed in what I had going and could also see that this could be something, right? So all the way back then, you know, stepping in and taking this leap to figure out how we could help people, because that's a scary thing, right? It's like you're leaving your full-time job, your paycheck, 401k, like you're leaving benefits and these different things to like make this jump. And I had done it, so I had kind of figured out a lot of the things. So how do we then boldly, each time we help someone transition, make this jump and like believe that what we're selling isn't snake oil, and believe that what we're doing is real and has an impact and has a place and is a thing at the cusp of being kind of trailblazing in this community for fractionals have gotten a bad rap in a lot of ways, because unfortunately we've had people enter the space that weren't qualified to do the work and have created some distrust. So that is something that's difficult, right? To kind of work through. I really want to raise all tides, raise all ships concept, whatever that quote is. So finding ways that we can do that. Anyways, my recent bold thing, that was a long explanation to get to where I am right now, is that I was the visionary and the integrator and the head of sales and a fractional integrator. I still have a couple of clients.
Mm.
So all of those seats that I'm in, the bold move was hiring an integrator for me and for Catalyst. So in November, December, we hired our first full-time internal Catalyst integrator who is only internal facing. I'm not sharing her with clients. Alex, if you're watching, so you know, she came on board and we are building rocket fuel together at this stage of the journey. And that was a bold move. I was it's hard to let go of that. It's hard to let go because I am so integrator. Most visionaries are like, take it, take the integrator stuff. I don't want it. And they want to run in the other direction. I'm a little different, right? Because I identify as an integrator. So I'm kind of like, okay, I gotta let it go and give it to somebody else, and you know, do all of the training I've gotten in the past 20 years of my career. Like, I gotta let go, I gotta delegate, I gotta teach, I gotta trust, I gotta do these things. And it's been paying in spades. I mean, I absolutely love Alex. I love where we're headed. I love the rocket fuel we're creating, and just couldn't be more excited. And I'm happy for that most recent bold move.
Well, first of all, congratulations. And hiring and then delegating, which, by the way, there is a workshop out in San Diego next month around delegating. Hint, hint. That's one of my clients that will be delivering that. But we all, even if we are good in that space, sometimes we do need to let that go so that you can. First of all, Jamie, so that you can keep expanding the business and your vision on all of that, where you want to be going and taking this company. And and I know that your company is 3 years old, but boy, when you keep saying that, I sit back and go, dang, you're 3 years old. You're a toddler of your business. Not you're very, and what you have created in 3 years is freaking amazing. It's like I keep thinking, oh yeah, she's been doing this for a while. No, it's 3 years old, and so I hope everybody that is listening, they heard that piece. When we start businesses, sometimes we don't always have the budget to start delegating right away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's things you can do. You can bring in interns that need school, university credits that you could be providing opportunities for to help save on budgeting and costs. But boy, when you're at that intersection, I call it that intersection, when the business is succumbing you because you're doing everything, that's when everybody needs to take a pause, in my opinion, and take that bold move and take a look at what can you afford to delegate. It may only be an assistant for 2 hours a week, and that 2 hours a week can be very impactful. Yeah. Take those steps. So congratulations to you of delegating that so that you loosen up some of your time to grow Catalyst to where you want to go. Yeah. What is up your sleeves right now besides bringing on an integrator internally in Catalyst? Is there anything you want to share with us?
Oh my gosh, like what's the tea right now? What are we doing? Okay, so EOS conference, that is on our agenda. EOS conference is in April in a couple of weeks. Almost the entire Catalyst team will be there. We have one of our integrators who's out in Israel, who's not going to make it.
Mm.
He's out there doing some incredible work and providing a ton of value, through EOS. Catalyst is a sponsor of some initiatives out there to do some coaching with some of the reservists who are business owners. So Adam is holding down the fort out there and doing that. We just hired a new head of biz dev, Jody Steele. I feel like that name, I'm like, she's like a superhero, right? Like Jody Steele. Like she's gonna have her own show on Disney Plus. I think that needs to happen. So she's our brand new head of biz dev. So excited to have her on board. And, going back a minute ago to what you shared about, the delegation and the growth and like the intentionality. I don't care if it's just you in your company or you've got 300 people. Like at any of those stages, you need to be and I'll use need, like you need as that visionary or business owner in that seat to be constantly looking at like what things are in your unique ability that you can be spending your time on, and the things that are, Gino calls it like the $25 an hour work. Like what are the things that are like not in your unique ability or in your wheelhouse that you can delegate off or hire done? And it's a cool exercise you guys can do. Just write down the time you would get back by delegating those activities, right? So say it's like a day a week. I'll get a day a week back. Do some like quick back of the napkin math on what you could generate in revenue by doing that, because you are out networking or having other meetings or creating new service offerings or new areas of business or whatever. Like I guarantee you, like you're going to pay for that person's salary in like a couple of months with that work now you're going to be able to go do. So that's a cool exercise for anyone that's listening. That's like, how do I even go down this path of figuring out like what I can afford or afford not to do? And that will get you to that place of understanding if there is value there. And maybe there's not. Maybe you do that exercise and you're like, oh wow, yeah, there's not a whole lot I can do and put me in that place. Then maybe you do need somebody that will be creating those ideas or opportunities. So maybe it is a biz dev person. Maybe it is somebody that is going to be out there doing that creation if you're still very much in and involved in like curating things that need to happen to grow the company. But EOS, man, it's sad when I talk to people and they're like, I'm too small for EOS. Like Kim just said, again, I would largely say the fact that we're here and I mean, just the work that we're doing right now, if we didn't have EOS, we wouldn't have been where we are right now.
Yes.
You can have a VTO by yourself. Like, obviously don't be silly and be like, well, how do I have an L10 with myself? Well, like review your stuff, like make sure you're on track, like do your things. Like, you can't do all the pieces of EOS when you're very small, but like you can do enough of them that's going to help you grow and it'll scale with you. When we found EOS, we already had 60 people on the team. Rolling out to that many people was a lift, and a lift for me by myself as the integrator and teaching everyone. So start small with it. Anyway, so okay, that's my tangent. So yeah, we're going to EOS conference. Hired Jody. Alex is kicking ass. We are always looking for right fit integrators to join our team.
Yes.
The important thing to note there is that the seat implies and you have to have done the job before. Fractional anything is not a playground for like deciding that you want to work half the time. It is, I have done this work before. I can provide this value in a less capacity than full time. I can do these things, and this is not like a sandbox for me to go and like play in and figure it out. the other thing I'll say there too is if you're entering this space in that way, it's going to be really, really tough because you're going to be up against people who have done it before.
Yes.
So, there's an implication there that you've done the job, you've had the experience, and you're not self-promoting into the role to decide, oh, like I've been a manager of a team and like read traction before, so like I'm going to be a fractional integrator.
No,
That's not, and
no.
you know what? I love that for you. Like if you want that in the future, I'm not saying like, ooh, it can't be you. It can't be you right now. That'd be like if I decided tomorrow, like I want to be, I don't know, an astronaut. I don't just like self-proclaim that I'm now an astronaut and like ready to go into space. Like, no, I need to like train and learn and do the stuff so that I'm prepared and ready and equipped to do that job and do it well.
I agree, Jamie. What I heard there is, we're such a fast-paced, cut corner, quick society, and we miss all the golden nuggets along the way. And in any industry, there's a lot of bastardization like that goes on. Hey, I'm this, so I read this book, and now I'm going to go do this. And it's like, I'm with you, double thumbs up. I think that's great. But just know sleeves need to be pushed up, and you need to dive on in and really learn this. And that is one thing I get around, the majority of the EOS world in running with people like yourself and, and Christy Clayton. And there's so many others we can name is you got the integrity. You guys don't cut corners, but you embrace the learning journey. And, today is another day. You're going to be better than you were yesterday. And tomorrow, has not arrived yet, but it'll be even better. And I love that. I love that. Just don't jump in. Make sure that this is a spot for you and that you're willing to put in the work, which that goes to everybody. I mean, that's boldness, by the way. Be willing to put in the work and be willing to also grow. Look, which is interesting. You brought up that the PQ and all of that. I'm like, I can believe you said that. The book is just like right there. Positive Intelligence on my shelf. And I've read just a couple of pages. I can't wait to dive in. And I think I am going to look at his training because that's a lot of the work I do with the negative self-talk, the inner critic, and all the personas that we create, which blocks us from that bold, authentic voice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jamie, oh my gosh, we are so over time and I don't care because we can walk. I would love to stay here all afternoon in my world. It's still morning in yours, but I so appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on today and sharing your boldness, sharing your voice, sharing, when that inner critic kicks in and how you overcome it. And by the way, get out of Jamie's way because Catalyst is expanding and she's got a rock star team. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to meet a few of the people that are on your team. Nicole, Kristen, there's a few of them that I've had an opportunity to meet. So thank you. And anybody that is listening that does not know Jamie, or if it's past the live and you're listening to the replay, that's fine. Hook up with Jamie on LinkedIn. Follow her. I mean, the stuff you put out there is amazing. And if you're sitting there going, fractional is intriguing to me, reach out, have a conversation. It might not be in the world that Jamie's in, but have a conversation around that word fractional. It can be done. So Jamie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim, for holding the space for this. Thank you for, creating what you're doing here to be able to empower, women, people, to be able to educate and provide so much value out there to everyone and to step into this and for all the work that you're doing with coaching and everything is just absolutely wonderful. So thank you for all that work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Okay, everybody, join us next week with another guest. And I won't reveal that until the time comes, but we're going to be here, same place, same time, just next week. So get out there and really claim your boldness on your terms. Don't let that inner critic dialogue think and mistake you that is your bold voice, because it is not your bold voice. We'll see you next week. Take care.